Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be unboxing slash reviewing slash first thoughts of
the Sigma 35mm F1.4 Art Series Lens!
Sigma 35mm F1.4 Art Series Lens for Canon. Let's get the intro going and the video started. Okay, so if you follow this channel for a while now, you know I'm not a big fan of unboxings, but I'm gonna do one anyway. So here's a box that comes with a lens. It's a standard black and white box. Inside of it, you'd have the little warranty, the manual, a little pouch, which with some wrapping, which is obviously empty. Why? Because I've been using the lens. So that's the unboxing done. So let's get to the lens itself, which is right here. And why is it hiding behind this one? It's because of one of the cons I'm going to talk about, which is the lens hood, and you'll see that in a second. But let's just go over the general feeling of the lens. It feels really, really well built. It's way heavier than it looks. I mean, it's like it has lead inside or something. It's really, really heavy for its size. So Sigma has three types of lenses, right? They have the C, which stands for contemporary. Then they have the Art Series, which is this. And then they have the sports versions, which are the high end. One of the things that does not come with the Art Series is a weather sealing gasket. So this is not weather sealed, which is a shame. But other than that, everything else seems to be top of the line in comparison to the L series, with a few exceptions. So the lens hood being one of them. So when you put it on, there's no click, right? Let me get closer so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so when you put on the hood, as so, it doesn't feel like it's in place, right? It feels like it can come off at any time. Now let me compare that and show you the L series version of a Canon lens. And I picked this one, could be anyone. Could be any, really. There's a click once it's in place. You hear that? Now it will not come off. There's a little latch here. I don't know if you can see it. Here. That you need to press to remove it out of place. Okay, so very easy. You put it in place, does not move at all. This will not come off. Whereas this one, once it's in place, comes off way too easily for my taste. It's like it's not even there. So need to watch out so I don't lose this. Another thing this lens does not have is IS, so image stabilization, and that's fine. For this type of lens, don't really need it, right? It's not like image stabilization is going to fix motion blur, so it doesn't, in case you didn't know. And in sports, it's very common that we turn off IS, especially if you're on a monopod. You don't really need it. So that's not a concern. For some people it might be, if they're thinking about buying this lens and they don't have IS, and their camera does not have IS. So keep that in mind if that's a factor for you. Also wide open if you're shooting at f1.4, which I don't think I'll be shooting that wide that many times, but if you do, there's some strong vignetting on the edges. Some of it is correctable in Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever. But just keep that in mind. There's some strong vignetting when you're wide open. Those would be pretty much all the cons I could think of as far as I'm concerned. There's only one more, which is video, but for that I'm gonna have to put on this lens on that camera so you can see what I'm talking about. Basically, when you're using a wide aperture and you move quite a bit, so the camera needs to track you. The focusing, when the lens is hunting for focus, if the microphone is on top of the camera, so like a shotgun mic like I'm using right now, or the inbuilt camera, it's going to pick up that noise of the lens focusing, hunting for focus. So very easy, just have a lavalier mic or stay further away from the camera. That should not be an issue. Or if you're filming and you don't care about the sound that the camera is recording because you have an external recorder, or the sound is far away, then that's fine. Or if you're using manual focus, but keep that in mind. If you're using a shotgun mic or the inbuilt mic, it's possible that the sound from the camera focus will be picked up by the microphone. I'll show you that. Okay, so right now I'm shooting at f1.4 on purpose, just to see if the microphone, the shotgun microphone in a room that's not very good for audio, if it can pick up the hunting focus. If you hear that bang, it's just a wall outside banging because of the wind. But let's see if it can pick up the sound of the lens trying to hunt focus. See, I don't know if you can hear it. I can definitely hear it. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check later the footage to see if it can be picked up. But I know in a quiet environment right now there's quite a bit of ambient noise around me, so maybe it's not being picked up. I did notice it when I first recorded inside, that if I'm using a wide aperture, the audio is definitely picked up by the shotgun microphone. So I can either use a lavalier mic and stay further away from the camera, or just set the focus manually and go from there, or close down the aperture, obviously. Then again, I'm not going to shoot at f1.4 all of the time, if any, to be honest. It's just one thing to take into consideration. If you're planning on buying this camera for video, keep that in mind. And yeah, let's go back inside the house. As for the pros, obviously it's a very versatile lens because of the focal length. 35mm, that's as close to the human eye as possible. It's amazing for portraits, for street photography, for just having a walk around lens, really. Yes, it's a prime lens, so there's no zoom. You zoom with your feet, but the focal range of this lens is perfect, I think, for many situations. Obviously not a sports orientated lens, but you can use it obviously for sports, especially indoors where the lighting conditions are terrible. f1.4, obviously not going to be shooting that wide most of the times, but just knowing that you can shoot at f2.5, 2.8, 3.2 helps quite a bit. Then the bokeh this lens produces is just amazing. I'm going to show you an example of pictures I took in this table with 3 different lenses at 3 different focal planes, and you'll see the difference. And if you check my Instagram, you'll see some of the pictures I've been taking with this lens, and it's just amazing. Last but not least, certainly not least, and my favorite, this image is the image this lens produces. I mean, they're tack sharp, unbelievably tack sharp, even at wide open, like I'm going to show you just now. Out of this world. Okay, so you can see this is the setup. I have the 24-70 up front, then I have the 7200, the 100, 400, and then the 50mm nifty 50 in different focal planes. I'm going to be shooting from here straight on out, just so you can see the difference the aperture makes and the quality in image. I'm going to try it with the 60 Mark II first, and then the 90D to see the difference. Okay, so I'm here in Adobe Bridge just to check the pictures that I took. Now this is on the Canon 60 Mark II, and I'm gonna go from wide open, so 1.4, and I closed it down to 7.1. I didn't go any further, so you can see the difference immediately. Look at the door, look at the fridge at the back versus the first image.
So I kept the shutter speed the same. I just changed the aperture and I let the ISO compensate. Okay, so I'm just going to go through them so you can see the difference. So starting at 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, 2.0, 2.2, 2.5, 2.8, 3.2, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.6, 6.3, and 7.1. Now let's go back to the start and let's start zooming in. You can see the sharpness at 1.4. It's not that great. I mean, it's okay. I mean, this is 100% zooming in, so obviously you're gonna notice some more details than if you're zoomed out. But if you need to crop in, then you know sharpness is important. And I use the middle point focus to focus on these pictures on all of them. This was on a tripod like you saw, so the difference shouldn't be that much. So let's just change to the next one. Just looking at the letters as I keep going, they start to, weirdly enough, to get a bit more soft. I think this was human error, and you'll see why, because I also did this on the 90D, and this is not like a scientific test or anything like that, far from it, because I'm not a tech savvy guy in this type of thing. But I was just curious, so I'm keep switching to the next picture. You know, the letters start appearing sharper again and again and again, and then it starts to get a little bit noisier because the ISO is gonna go up each time I close down the aperture, as you can see. So now we're at ISO 2500, but the letters, I mean, there's no real increase in sharpness anymore. If I go back to the 90D, and let me just show you, same setting. Obviously, just because of the crop factor, I'm a lot more zoomed in. This is at 1.4. Look at the difference in sharpness. That's insane. Okay, now one thing I also notice is that there's a lot more chromatic aberration on the 90D, but the difference in sharpness on the letters is impressive. And I think it was human error on the 6D, because I find it very hard to believe that the 6D would perform that poorly compared to the 90D on a test like this. But anyway, the sharpness on the 90D, on these tests at least, is mind-blowing. Wide open is mind-blowing. 1.4, look at that. That's insane, insane. Let me just zoom out again so you can see the difference. So 1.4, and I'm just gonna go to the next, to the next, to the next. You can see the background starting slowly appearing into focus. But yeah, wide open, unbelievable, really unbelievable detail. Now look at this, right? There's some fringing there, you can see that. Now let's go back to the 90D and you can see the difference. You see the difference in sharpness is a bit weird. So I believe this was human error, so maybe I'm gonna try to take a few more shots, different situations, just to check the sharpness on the 60 versus the 90D. But overall, I'm very, very impressed with this lens. And maybe it's the focus that was not on the exact same spot, because now I'm looking, and above here where it says 2470, it's more in focus than that part. So maybe it was my mistake. Let me just check one thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was my mistake, because there it definitely seems to be more in focus. Okay, maybe that's it. That's gotta be it. You can see I'm not a very good at doing this type of test. Yeah, that's gotta be it. That's tack sharp over there. So yeah, ignore completely everything I said at the start about the 60. No, this lens is incredibly sharp. Incredibly sharp. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me just check the last one. Just, yeah, middle one and the first one. Yeah, it's insane. Insane. Okay, so that's the non-scientific, non-tech comparison. I'm very, very pleased with the sharpness, and the color rendition too is amazing. Yes, there's tons of vignetting, but I'm hoping that this can be corrected, should be corrected to some point in Lightroom, so that should not be an issue. So let's go back to the video now.
One thing I definitely keep forgetting is that it's not a zoom lens. It's been a long time since I used a prime lens. The only one I used before really was the 50mm, which has been put away for a very, very long time. So it takes a while getting used to it. If you're not used to using prime lenses, there's no zoom, so the zoom are your feet. But for video especially, I seem to come to want to grab the lens and zoom out or zoom in a little, and that's not going to happen obviously. But as far as quality is concerned, I'm absolutely loving this lens. Tomorrow I'm going to be using it again with another photo shoot while in isolation, obviously following all the distancing guidelines and whatnot. Follow me on Instagram and you'll see those pictures. I'm not going to be using just this lens though, I'm going to be using the 7200 as well. But yeah, loving this lens, and I hope to be able to show you guys some proper examples once the sporting season returns, whenever that happens. And how about the background? Turned out alright, right? This is the side wall. Let me show you the main one. So right now I'm up against the wall. Obviously I wouldn't be shooting like this. Let's just see how well the lens keeps focused with the camera. Pretty good. So that's what I was working for all those hours, to have a nice little backdrop that doesn't look like wood but still looks like wood with a touch of gray. I love this color, absolutely love it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Take it easy, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.